12s, I need your help. I'm trying to get to 8,000 followers on X, formerly known as Twitter, and I need you to follow me at Tyler Jones Live, where the show never stops, giving you all the latest Seahawk updates on there, also posting some more video content as well. So if you can go follow me over there, the first 10 people that are watching today's show that follow me, I will follow you back. Help me get to 8,000 followers on X, and we'll get started with today's show. Glad to have you with us on Seahawks Today. Tyler Jones here as we are breaking down the potential 53-man roster for your Seattle Seahawks. We'll go through every single position group, and I'll give you who I think ultimately makes the 53-man roster for Seattle at the end of training camp. Let's get started at the quarterback position. I think the Seahawks stay consistent to what they've done years prior with carrying just two quarterbacks on the active roster with Sam Howell, Geno Smith as your two QBs. But wouldn't be surprised if they carry a veteran of some sorts on the practice squad with the ability to elevate him if they need a potential third quarterback option there. The running back room, we have a UDFA on the screen here, folks. Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, and Kenny McIntosh come back from last year, while George Holani, the UDFA out of Boise State, I think gets the nod for that fourth running back role with Seattle. And I'm very fascinated to see him and what potentially his role could be with the Seahawks offense. Pretty decent pass catcher as well, so that'll be a nice element to add to the Seahawks arsenal. 5 wide receivers total on the active roster for the Seahawks is Metcalf, Lockett, Smith-Njigba, and Jake Bobo return. And then Shenault also makes the active roster as well. I think it's pretty competitive here for these spots. I have D. Eskridge, which some of you will be very happy to hear, finally getting cut. The Seahawks finally move on from D. Eskridge and say sayonara, but wouldn't surprise me if he was a practice squad player and stuck around there. Also interested with his potential role in special teams that could keep him in the mix of sorts as far as that goes. You also get guys like Aesop Winston and others here competing for potential playing time. But in the end, I think it's these 5 that hold things down to the wide receiver spots. How would you grade the Seahawks roster at this point? Let me know. A, B, C, D, or F. I think it's a solid B+, if I'm going to be honest with you. What do you think? It's our pinned comment today. Weigh in. Let us know what you think of Seattle's roster. The tight end position, we find another UDFA, and Seahawk fans in the Pacific Northwest, you're really going to like this. Jack Westover, formerly the Washington Huskies, I think makes the 53-man roster because the thing about him compared to Pharaoh Brown and A.J. Barner that gives him, I think, a leg up in potential for playing time is the fact that he is a decent pass catcher. Noah Fant is going to be your lead receiving tight end, but Brown and Barner are mostly blocking tight ends, and the Seahawks are going to need another pass-catching tight end in this offense. I look for Jack Westover to be that guy, and I want to be shocked if we're talking down the road, maybe not right away, but down the road, potentially some 12 personnel with Fant and Westover both on the field together to give some flexibility to the passing game for Geno Smith and company there. The offensive tackle position. I have 3 offensive tackles making the Seahawks roster. Charles Cross, Abraham Lucas, and George Fant as your offensive tackles. And this is a position group where I think if there's an injury of some sorts, then you start to do some moving around. Maybe it's one of those guards comes in to the tackle position, or you start shopping, if you will. But for now, I think it's just Cross, Lucas, and Fant that make the final roster. Let's go to the Department of the Interior. The interior offensive line. I got 6 total players making this roster with Christian Haynes, Laken Tomlinson, Olu Oluwatimi, Anthony Bradford, Nick Harris, and Laumea, who the Seahawks drafted from Utah as the 6th. And it'll be very competitive for playing time among this group. I think you're looking at Tomlinson and Haynes, probably the odds-on favorites to start at the guard spots with Olu Oluwatimi starting at center. But look out to see what they can do with these other guys potentially here. Nick Harris has some experience at the fullback spot. Maybe if you need him for some I formation packages, or if you need an extra blocker, that could be a possibility for him to get on the field. But Anthony Bradford, I expect him to compete with Christian Haynes for that guard spot, but I'd give the edge to Haynes as far as being that guy goes. We'll get to the defense in a moment, and before we do, let's tell you about what we're offering from our friends at Fanatics. Byron Murphy jerseys are on sale now. He's wearing the number 91, so you get the number 91 jersey. Men's and women's sizes available. Not just the home jersey either. Got the road option, some others for you at chatsports.com/Murphy is where you can get yours today. And the link is in the comments and description of today's video. Byron Murphy, a lot of excitement. I think he's going to be around here a long time, going to be a star football player. Why would you not want his jersey, folks? If I had to get a jersey of any player in the Seahawks right now, me personally, I'd be getting Byron Murphy. I know producer Big Tex would too. Check it out, chatsports.com/Murphy. Link is in the comments and description of today's video. Speaking of Byron Murphy, we have him on the defensive line, making the team, of course, along with Leonard Williams, Jonathan Hankins, Draymond Jones, Jaron Reed, Mike Morris, and Cameron Young as the 7 defensive linemen for Seattle. What's going to be interesting to watch with this group, I believe Murphy and Williams start, no question. It's going to be competitive with Jones and Reed to see who gets that final starting spot, but they'll both see significant playing time. I think Jonathan Hankins also is going to get on the field a lot as well in this defensive line group. And credit where credit's due. This defensive line group has been a problem for the Seahawks, a weakness over the last few years. And now it looks like a position of strength. With that, that means Myles Adams is gone. What do you think about that? Will the Seahawks cut Myles Adams? C for cut, K for keep. What do you think about that idea? Is he the odd man out in this equation? Weigh in. Let us know. Seahawks Today is bringing you nonstop Seattle Seahawks news and rumors each and every day here on the channel. We're also doing live shows each and every Wednesday, watch parties every game day. And anytime the Seahawks make a move, we're going to be the first to talk about it here on the channel as we bring you up-to-the-minute reaction when the Seahawks add in new players to this team via trade, free agency, whatever it is. Never miss a moment. Lock us in. Subscribe now. Stay up to date on your Seattle Seahawks all off-season long. On your off-season headquarters, Seattle Seahawks Today. Subscribe now, youtube.com/SeahawksTV. Outside linebackers. I think the Seahawks go with 4. Boye Mafe, Uchenna Nwosu, Derek Hall, and Darrell Taylor get those spots. Mafe and Nwosu will be your starters, but I think we will see a lot of Derek Hall and a lot of Darrell Taylor. Darrell Taylor is kind of a pass-rushing specialist, if you will. The future, though, of this position, I think, is all about Boye Mafe and Derek Hall leading the way for this group. Inside linebacker, I got 4 inside linebackers for Seattle. Terrell Dodson and Jerome Baker will be your starters. We've already heard that Dodson is going to take the role of the green dot. I think we ought to call him the Green Dodson. A little play on words there. Jerome Baker next to him. Knight, I'm very intrigued about. He's going to be very raw. He's got some work to do when it comes to coverage, but a very good raw tackler. Led the nation in college football this past season in solo tackles. Jon Rhattigan I have staying around. The corner room, I'm going with 6 total corners. Mike Jackson, after restructuring his contract this week, I would be surprised if he got caught after a restructure. To me, that would be a little bizarre. But we've seen some crazy stuff before. I think he's back. Rick Woolen and Devin Witherspoon also back. Tre Brown is the one that's interesting. I don't think that he gets cut, but I wouldn't rule out the possibility of a trade because he's got experience as an outside corner, and there's enough teams in the NFL that need help at outside corner. He could end up being the odd man out, but I can't imagine the Seahawks let him walk for nothing. And then the rookies, DJ James and Nehemiah Pritchett. Out of Auburn University. Excited to see what both those guys do. We heard Mike Macdonald say earlier this week that right now all they could kind of do is cover 3, that it's going to be a work in progress. But nonetheless, I think you're going to like what you see with what they eventually turn into. Let's ask you about Tre Brown. What do you think? Is Tre Brown on that final roster, or does he get moved? Y for yes, in for no. What do you think? Do the Seahawks keep Tre Brown or not? Weigh in, tell us in the comment section below. Couple more for you. Let's go to the safety spot now. Rayshawn Jenkins and Julian Love, I think, will be your starting two safeties. And then Kayvon Wallace and Kobe Bryant, I would expect to see a decent amount on the field. We already know that Mike Macdonald plans to use three safety looks a lot at times. So it'll be competitive to see Wallace and Bryant try to compete for playing time there. Also, I wouldn't rule out, depending on how roster cuts go and injuries, there's always the possibility that Kobe Bryant could move back to the corner position. So we'll see what happens there. Jarek Reed, I like Jarek Reed. I thought he was a sneaky good find in last year's draft. Let's see what he does with another year under his belt. But I wouldn't rule out the possibility of him playing a significant role of sorts in this Seahawks defense. Special teams, no significant changes, as Jason Myers will be your place kicker. Michael Dixon will be punting, and Chris Stoll holding things down as the long snapper there. A very good special teams unit at that. So there you have it. That is my official 53-man roster projection for training camp, and that's assuming without any trades of players coming in or out, just as things are right now. I feel pretty confident in that. Follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Tyler Jones Live, for more Seahawks coverage there, and I will see you next time. Have a great day.